A very good morning to all. In this series, we will understand GST overview in detail. Hence, be tuned to it and understand GST in a simple manner. We have prepared the flow chart which will help you to understand GST in a very simple manner. It is not that detailed, but it will give you an idea what GST is all about. First one, let us understand is is the transaction a supply to attract GST? First one is verify the scope of supply under section 7 of the CGST and schedule 3 as if it's a come under the scope of supply and if it's not covering under schedule 3, then only GST is going to get applicable. If it's under schedule 3, then it's an exempted supply and no GST is applicable. For example, immobile property, salary, and so on. The next one is we have to refer to Schedule 2 for classification of goods and services. We may be having a doubt earlier in VAT regime or excise regime. There were multiple disputes regarding the software, whether it's a goods or a services. So now in GST, it is giving a deemed thing that it is either a goods or a services. It is giving a deeming fiction which we have to understand. If the consideration is nil, transaction not in schedule 1, no GST applicable. If it's in coming in the schedule 1 which says that if there is no consideration but a transaction which is between the related parties and GST is applicable. If it's not in schedule 1, for example, intrastate branch transfer. For example, if you are in Andhra Pradesh and if the material is getting transferred from one warehouse to another warehouse between the same GSTN, then it is not a sale and no consideration is required. Hence, the GST is nil. This we have to understand in a detailed manner. The next one is we have to refer section 9 of the CGST and section 5 of the IGST for levy. The rates under GST are basically zero rated, then the 5%, then the 12%, then the 18%, and then the 28%. Maximum rate under GST is 28%. If it be CGST, HGST, then it will be divided by 2. For example, 18% means divide it by 2. 9% is CGST, 9% is HGST, and if it's IGST, it will be 18%. IGST means integrated goods and service tax. For example, if you are selling the goods from Karnataka to Andhra Pradesh, then IGST is applicable. And if you are selling the goods within Karnataka, then CGST and HGST is applicable. So next we will think about and understand valuation. The valuation is covered under the section 15 valuation rules. We have to study in detail the valuation rules which gives us when the transaction value is equal to the assessable value and so on. Next, we have to understand RCM. RCM means reverse charge mechanism. Reverse charge mechanism is applicable when there is a transaction between registered person under GST and unregistered person, and if there is a transaction between them, then the registered person is deemed to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. This we will understand in detail in subsequent slides. If you see on the left side of my thing, section 22, 23, and 24, we have to be mindful of the definition of aggregate turnover. Aggregate value of all taxable supplies. Taxable supply, supply levelable, non-taxable supply, supply not levelable to tax. Section 9, Class 1, Class 2 excludes levy on supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumptions. The supply of petroleum crude, high-speed diesels, petrol, natural gas, and AFT is exempt supply, which is not covered under exempt supply means which is not covered under GST and which will be taxed separately under the state VAT and excise regime. So we have to study this product under the different. We are not going to cover this here right now. Then we have to understand the we have to understand the meaning of we have to understand the let us now come back to the place of supply, the time of supply, nature of supply, ITC, transitional provisions, the compliance. Now first let us understand the section 10 level of IGST services, section 12, 13 of services. Then time of supply, section 12, 13 of CGST and CGST, section 13, 12 and 13 covers 12 covers goods and 13 covers services. The nature of supply, intrastate or intrastate, section 12 of IGST, section 7 of IGST, and section 9 of CGST. ITC, section 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. From if you want to understand the ITC provisions, then you have to read section 16 to section 21, which speaks about ITC. Section 16 and 17 are very important section, which we have to read it in thoroughly so that we can understand in a detailed manner. The month, time of supply, which month we have to pay GST is the time of supply. Liability, how we will determine the place of supply and nature of supply will determine the liability. Then ITC, whether it's IGST, CGST, or HGST, then the payment CGST, HGST, IGST refund. So we will be covering in a detailed manner all this. Thank you very much, and we will have this around 17 or 18 series to cover all other things. Thank you very much and be connected.